Welcome to the Weird Works podcast. I'm Dr. Christy, your host. Join us for conversations about alternative and sometimes controversial healthcare topics. This podcast will provide the evidence that you need in order to make informed decisions about your health, to empower you with the facts that you need to advocate for your health, and to encourage you that there is hope your body heals. Join us from experts from all things weird, as well as the testimonies of people with stories of radical healing who were once told that perhaps their condition was a death sentence, that they would just need to live with it, or that drugs and invasive surgery were the only answer. Let's get into agreement that if there is something natural and non-invasive that could be helpful, that it could be your first option rather than your last resort. Hey everybody, welcome to the Weird Works podcast. Today I have Dr. Peter Yu. So we're going to hear all about functional movement, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about his background. He describes himself as a performance physical therapist, and his company is called Motion RX. You can see his logo on his shirt there, probably on his hat too. I got to get some swag like you. We're not cool. But that is a physical therapy clinic that specializes in getting athletes and active adults back to the activities that they love pain-free. Peter utilizes a one-on-one treatment model focused around education, empowerment, and movement to promote long-term positive adaptations to improve an individual's confidence and ability to manage their injury and return to the activities they love pain-free. Did I read that? He believes that everyone should be able to perform some sort of basic self-maintenance drills on themselves, and that taking a proactive approach is the key to success and long-term health. So just the reason why I brought Peter on is because as a chiropractor, we know it's all about functional movement. And so I wanted to have him come on and kind of explain why that's so important, and kind of contrast that with the conventional exercises and therapies that are out there as well. But for example, as a chiropractor, like what we preach all the time, and maybe you'll attest to this, hopefully he agrees with me, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, like how many bicep curls you can do, right? It's more like, can you bend and twist and lift your kids and get your groceries safely from your car to your house without blowing out your lumbar spine and that kind of stuff. So I think that's more what he's going to talk about with us today. But for that reason, you know, traditionally it's been very hard for us to refer to physical therapists because they're very stuck in a pain model, right? An area of symptom. And in fact, that's all insurance will really let them treat. And so it's hard for us as, you know, more functional doctors who look at the whole biomechanical chain, which he knows what that means. I'm going to let him explain that to you when they're just like going to rehab your shoulder. And we're like, well, cool. But now that this has been out and not functioning properly, like you're having SI issues and your whole spinal alignment is off and your leg lengths are uneven and so on. So he looks at the whole body, which is so important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So
tell us that. What is performance physical therapist? Explain why you consider yourself one and what that means.
Yeah, for sure. So performance physical therapy, the majority of our clients that are coming to us, they all have performance goals in mind, right? So they're typically experiencing pain when they're trying to do some sort of performance activity, right? So whether it's, hey, like I have shoulder pain when I'm lifting in the gym or when I'm surfing, right? But I don't have pain at rest.
Got it.
Or, hey, I have knee pain whenever I'm going on a run or whenever I'm doing squats and lunges in the gym. Right? So it's, again, they have some sort of performance goal in mind and they can't reach that activity or goal because of their pain or limitation, right? And so whereas in traditional physical therapy, it's all, hey, I have shoulder pain that bothers me throughout the day, and once I address that, it's done. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Or, hey, like I have knee pain with just walking and that's it. And once we kind of address that, that's done, right? And again, with like traditional physical therapy, they have these like kind of, I'm sure you know, like functional outcome measures, right? And they quote functional outcome measures.
And they're not functional at all.
Yeah, you look at them and it's all very, very basic stuff, right? I think like for like the shoulder, it's like the quick dash screen. And again, it's like, hey, do you have shoulder pain when you're like lifting or putting on a seatbelt, right? It's very basic things. It doesn't take into consideration, hey, like more, you know, fun activities like surfing. Hey, do you have shoulder pain when you're surfing? Or higher, more functional stuff like that.
Yeah, what if somebody has a higher hope for themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because life
don't just want to do the basic stuff.
Yeah, life is meant to be experienced way more than just like everyday stuff without pain, right? It's like you want to do all these like fun recreational activities without any kind of issues. That's where we kind of come in and we kind of really mesh along kind of the performance aspect along with kind of like rehab and put out this blended model for them.
So with that, then what I'm hearing is that must be very individualized to the person, like very not a cookie cutter type of thing.
100%, right? So we spend one-on-one with each patient for the full hour, and this way we're really able to kind of dig deep into figuring out, hey, what exactly is going on, right? And we're able to kind of look at the mechanics, take a look at, hey, what part of their sport are they experiencing pain, right? So for example, like if a CrossFit athlete, they're having shoulder pain with a snatch, okay, so we have to, aside from getting rid of the pain, we have to figure out, hey, what are the mechanics behind snatch, and what is the shoulder doing in that position, so that we can build the shoulder up strong enough to be able to tolerate those loads during a snatch and stuff.
That's important, because people might be golfers. They might just want to play some pickleball.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love pickleball.
You do?
I'm on a pickleball kick right now.
Are you?
Yeah, so one of my friends introduced me to pickleball in like the last 3 months, and I've been like playing probably like the 2 or 3 times a week pretty consistently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know. There's all tournaments forming. We have a tennis court at our, like where we live, and they're forming teams. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so fun. You should give it a try.
Yeah.
So I played tennis and ping pong growing up.
Yeah.
And so I had this like ongoing joke with my girlfriend that I'm going to retire from PT for like 6 months and like just drill pickleball and see if I can make it onto the tour. Right?
I don't know where the pickleball tour is, but
the pickleball
you'll
tour,
find it. You're going to find it. Or start it yourself.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us what led you to this. Like, did you start school thinking you were going to go into this performance functional movement stuff, or did you have a situation that kind of changed your mind about it?
Yeah, so I was very, very lucky to be exposed to kind of this more kind of private pay model of performance physical therapy, right? Like as I was going through school and as I was going through these different rotations and stuff in your traditional setting, I was almost to a point where I was very depressed and disappointed, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you would basically be seeing, 2 or 3 patients at the same time. You'd be overwhelmed with all these billing and documentation and stuff, and it felt like you weren't really giving good enough quality care, right? And again, I'm sure all of us kind of get into healthcare in the first place wanting to help people.
Yeah.
But again, with the insurance type model, you ultimately begin, serving, responding to more insurance companies instead of actually providing good quality care. And so, I graduated school and I actually ended up working in a traditional outpatient clinic for about 6 weeks.
That's it.
6 weeks, and I couldn't take it. It was just too much. I was burned out, and I was just like, there's got to be a better way. So I decided to kind of opt for the more one-on-one model and stuff.
I love that. Yeah. Well, you're lucky that early on in your career you were able to make that shift and decide on a path that really more suited you and your model.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with this model, you just provide a little bit better patient quality care, and then you also ensure that the provider doesn't get burned out as well too.
Yeah. We kind of know that model. My brother-in-law is in physical and occupational therapy, and so shout out to Mikey, but he's kind of doing that, and so I'm trying to get him in touch with you.
Awesome.
And I pointed him in your direction also because I'm like, hey, this seems exactly up his alley.
It's really the model that I think healthcare is going to shift to. You'll see more and more providers such as yourself, contractors, and even functional medicine doctors, where again they get tired of this insurance churning model, and they're like, hey, like this isn't the right way to do it.
Yeah.
And again, like year after year, you see insurance reimbursement drop more and more and more. So it's like unless that turns around, like more and more people are going to seek out more better quality care and stuff.
Yeah. No, it is exactly the same way in chiropractic. I actually have never participated on insurance panels in my 20 years in practice, and it was because of that. First of all, I'm just stubborn, and I'm like, well, who are these people on these insurance panels dictating what I can and can't do?
They don't even know anything about medicine or healthcare.
Yeah,
right?
They're not doctors, so I don't know if patients understand that these insurance companies that you're like trusting your health to aren't even qualified to make medical decisions. And then they don't meet you, see you, take a history, put hands on you, assess movement and function, but yet they're going to tell you what you can and can't have access to. So yeah, I think I'm not saying doctors who participate in insurance don't have a conscience, but I think starting to have a conscience about it and putting the patient's needs beforehand is what ultimately leads people to not participate with insurance.
Right.
And I know what Peter's saying about insurance reimbursements. It's not all about money and what goes into our pocket, but when you are a doctor who works for somebody else in an outpatient, clinic, for example, or for a medical practice, that just means higher volume. And so that one-on-one model that he's able to do, you can't do that in outpatient. You're seeing 4 or 5 patients at a time. You have a couple of minutes, and really the patient's running their own therapy. And you kind of are like, what do I need you for?
You're almost kind of running like a small group exercise class, which is fine if they're not in pain, right? If people are healthy, you can absolutely run it as like a exercise class. But again, take in mind, like these are, people go to physical therapy because they're in pain. So it's like, you need to really focus in on that one person, listen to them, figure out what is going on, and be able to kind of collaborate with them and come up with a plan together. But again, when you're seeing 4 or 5, people, it's like, whoa, I'm all over the place.
You end up just putting hot packs and giving somebody a stretch and then coming back around to them.
It becomes very cookie cutter, unfortunately.
Right, and a lot of times the patient kind of comes to the conclusion like, I could just go home and put my own hot packs and run my stretches and do the things. Like,
and then again, what's even worse is typically if a patient is seeking out like surgery or something like that, the physician will again force them to go through physical therapy, right? But then they go through this very like mediocre shit care, and of course the physician sees that they failed physical therapy. Okay, what's the next step? Injection, and even worse, what's after that? Surgery, right? Whereas in reality, if the patient had just gone to a good quality provider and got that good quality care, they could have avoided all these different things and stuff. So it's very unfortunate.
Well, and like anything, like we always teach like proactive preventative model, and like it takes a little bit of a mind shift switch because you have to come out of pocket and pay up front for care, but in the long run what we know is you save time, money, and effort and strain and aggravation 100%. By just handling it the correct way from day one.
Absolutely.
So we're totally in alignment on that. So the part in his bio I didn't read, and we were talking before we hit record button. It's all these letters, but do you want to tell me about some of the additional certifications just to help people understand what, in addition to the traditional curriculum, you incorporate?
So, we treat a lot of CrossFit athletes, a lot of weightlifters, a lot of runners. So a lot of the additional certifications that we have are also kind of just coaching certifications as well, right? We also have certified strength and conditioning specialists. Again, this way allows us to kind of approach the patient from almost kind of like a blend of a coaching coach's eye as well as kind of your traditional healthcare eye as well too, because this way again it's like you actually understand what is a clean and jerk, what is a snatch, what are kipping pull-ups, all these things that again an athlete might be coming to you and talking to you about, but it's like if you don't understand it, or if you don't do it, then again, like you're just probably going to tell them, hey, don't do that, right? Don't do that. That's typically what you hear from most healthcare providers who don't understand the patient and their sport, right? Same thing. It's like, if you don't understand running to you, like, hey, running is a very impactful, dangerous activity. And a patient's coming to you, hey, I've got knee or ankle pain. Of course, you're just going to tell them, hey, don't do it, right? But again, having these other additional, certifications just basically allows us to understand the patient a little bit better, kind of understand what's going on, be able to kind of provide them an option that isn't just rest or stop doing it, right? And then, another one, again, is just dry needling. Dry needling is something that's very common now, and we also are able to provide that as well. But, at the end of the day, they're just kind of tools in the toolbox that are able to help us, provide like a plan in order to get our patient all the way to their end goal and stuff. So it's just the alphabet soup.
It is, but I know it's all meaningful, and you did it purposefully. You didn't just do it to try to put a bunch of letters there. So what I kind of find is that as you move on in practice, you'll see a case and you'll be able to get them well, and then they send more of those types of cases, and then they're like, hey, if you can help me with this, like maybe you can help with this a little bit more complicated thing, and then you need more tools in your toolbox as your practice grows, and out of necessity. So
absolutely.
I'm sure you did it purposefully. Are you tired of going from diet to diet to come up short and feel worse than you did when you started? Or are you just lost with all the mixed messaging out there today and not sure what's best for you and your lifestyle? Maybe you were told that you had to live with your symptoms and accept feeling less than your typical vibrant self. Well, I'm here to tell you the truth. As a practicing doctor of chiropractic, kinesiology, and clinical nutrition, I see people all the time that are just like you, frustrated and starting to lose hope. But I do want you to know that you do not have to give up on the you that you know you could be. There is a way to truly achieve optimal health and also to live your life. I want to share with you how, by doing some small, doable adjustments and taking on a new approach to enjoyable and non-restrictive eating, We can help you start feeling better and begin to see changes in your waistline and start releasing weight in as little as 14 days. So just kind of explain a typical day in your office. Like, what does it look like at your, do you call it a studio or a practice?
Clinic, office. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned. I saw the question. I was like, because someone else talked to me about this the other day too. They were like, your job looks so fun. You should do like a video recording of just like a day in the life.
Yes,
right? I was like, I really should do like
it's
a
like a playground.
Do like a vlog or something like that. But yeah, if you guys have ever been to our clinic or studio, which you need to come by sometime.
I do need to come.
But it's basically almost looks like a mini gym.
Okay.
Right. So typically we start 7 a.m. We go to 12 p.m. and again we see patients one-on-one for the full hour. We have all these heavier equipment there in order to be able to kind of again get our patients strong enough so that they're able to handle whatever activity that they're getting back to. Right. That was probably one of the biggest gripes that I had when I was working at the traditional insurance clinic. It was all stretchy bands and then just like I think the heaviest dumbbell was like 2 pounds. Right. Oh. And it's just like, how do you expect and we're telling them, hey, you need to get stronger in order to be able to do this, right? But how are you going to get them stronger with only 2 pound pink dumbbells and like stretchy bands, right? So we have like we got sleds there, we got dumbbells all the way up to 100 pounds, we got barbells, and it's just a lot of fun, and again we always sort of try to create like a fun culture there as well too. We make TikTok dances and stuff.
I know, you guys gotta follow them on Instagram or TikTok. They're pretty fun.
Yeah. So we just try and keep it fun, lighthearted in there. And, patients come in, we work their injury, we get them working hard, sweaty. Yeah. And then, we have fun, make jokes at it as well too and stuff. Good. So, I made a post earlier today how I was describing physical therapy is kind of like Disney World.
Yeah.
Right? Physical therapy that's kind of like Disney World where, you go, you have fun, you laugh, you get sweaty, right? Because you're sweaty from working hard from working the injury and stuff like that. Yeah. And then you also conquer a fear, right? So again, a lot of times these patients are coming in, they have some sort of fear with movement, right? Whether it's like squatting or even bending down because in the past it's been a movement or something that's caused them pain, right? Yeah. So again, a lot of it's kind of helping them build past that. Yeah. And then they leave fulfilled and then they can't wait to come back again, right? So I just made a post kind of something like that, but it's good. We see, so on average seeing we're between 5 to 7 patients a day. Okay. And then again, have like 2 hour lunch break to work out for ourselves. And then in the afternoon we're done, go home, play some pickleball, right? Listen to some podcasts. It's an amazing job. Schedule. Yeah. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. But
that's good.
I don't know if that was descriptive enough.
No, that was great. No, I just think it like you had mentioned, sometimes people are fearful, right? They're in pain, maybe they've been everywhere else. Other people haven't been able to fully help them. Sometimes, like in our office too, like people have invested already a lot of time and money to be told this is as good as it's ever going to get, or drugs and surgery are the only option remaining for you. And then like they're fearful to come to see one more person. So I just thought like if they could see you, meet you, understand, what it looks like, maybe that will eliminate one more boundary from people being able to access the care that they need.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Take the next step.
Yep, for sure.
So can people who aren't athletes see you?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And so I think, obviously we cater ourselves towards, again, that athletic population or active adult. Yeah. But I always kind of pull this quote from whoever the founder of or CEO of Nike was. He had this quote where it was, again, if you have a body, you're an athlete. Yeah. Right. And again, so I kind of bring that up to pretty much just about anyone as well too, right? And I think a really good example is kind of just these 2 patients that I saw back to back. I think it was probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. The first patient, right, 30 years old. She's an Olympic trials marathon runner, right? And she's dealing with plantar fasciitis. Right. So we're working with her. She's obviously an athlete. We're working her towards her performance goal of being able to qualify for the Olympic trials in 2024, be able to run that again without any kind of issues, right? So it's very black and white for her. And the very next patient we had, I would treat her, she's a 70-year-old grandma, right? But again, I treated her the same as an athlete, right? For her sport is the sport of life, right? So she was dealing with back pain, right? And she can't bend down and play with her grandkids. And so obviously we're going to get her back stronger so that she can play with her kids again without any kind of issues. She can pick up her grandkids again and just hang out with them, right? So for her sport is a sport of life. And the very patient before her, their sport was obviously a marathon. But again, they're both athletes participating in their own sport. But again, it just looks a little bit differently.
I just like the whole, like, what you're describing, too, is, like, it's just so much further away from just a pain, like, get people out of pain. Like, you're really restoring them to life and the things they love to do.
Purposeful meaning, you know? Because, again, like, people can deal with pain. People live in pain all the time. But, again,
or they just take a painkiller,
Yeah, or they take a painkiller, right? But, again, when that pain is limiting them from an activity that is meaningful to them, that's when it becomes an issue. So, again, it's so much more than just getting rid of pain. It's getting them back to the things that they love.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why, like, I read a quote and it said, like, we don't stop playing because we get old. We actually get old because we stop playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, people just start to accept, like, oh, don't you hate this when people just say, like, well, maybe it's just old age?
Yeah.
Do you hate that?
Of course, because, I mean, you have people that are in their 80s and 90s continue to run marathons, continue to be active, and, like, they look like they're in their 50s and 60s. It's because they continue to stay moving and stuff. So, again, like, I don't know if you're out there listening and stuff, but, again, don't let age be kind of like a reason or a blame for kind of, you know, what you're... whatever you're dealing with.
Or don't accept age as a diagnosis or a death sentence.
Absolutely.
You know, like, the body is made to move. And chiropractic, and I know in your medicine too, like, movement is life. Yeah,
movement is medicine, right? And that's pretty much where the name Motion RX comes from, right? RX prescription, and again, we're prescribing movement, right?
I love it. Very cool. Okay, so tell us some exercise myths. What are some of the worst things you see people doing or believing?
Oh, man.
You probably see it all. I know Peter's here with us. If you're only on the audio and you hear little tiptoeing, that's the dog's feet.
Yeah. Oh, man. Exercise myths. I would probably have to say that there is no bad movement, right? Or there are no absolutes, right? Again, I think a lot of newer coaches and trainers, again, they may come out thinking that, hey, there is a black and white way to move. Okay. Right? Whereas in reality, you know, movement is a very gray area. There's lots of, we're all born differently and we can all move in different ways, right? Yeah. So, again, like one of the more common ones are, hey, never let your knees go past your toes when you squat, right? Because, you know, the myth was, hey, it's going to shoot out your kneecaps, right? Whereas in reality, if you kind of, you go down the stairs, every single time you go downstairs, your knees are going over your toes. Yeah. Right? So it's all about, again, can you slowly progress the load enough so that your knees can kind of tolerate and handle that, right? So, again, I think that's a common myth. Another one is, you know, hey, never let your back round whenever you're picking something up, right? Again, like, I don't know, I think America as a whole just has a perception that, like, the back is super fragile, right? Whereas in reality, the back is just a muscle, just like any other part of our body, right? And again, if you kind of slowly dose that in, if you kind of, you know, because again, like, if everything in the world was shaped perfectly like a dumbbell, kettlebell, or like a barbell, that would be amazing, right? Because then we could keep our backs flat every single time and position it perfectly to lift it up with a braced spine, right? But in reality, you know, we have like dog food for Petey, right? Odd-shaped items, and you have to bend and round your back a little bit. So it's not necessarily avoiding those positions, it's slowly training in those positions to get your back strong enough to be able to handle that, right? So I think that's kind of just like, something that I commonly explain to people a lot of times throughout the day. But yeah, I mean, exercise myths, we can go on and on forever.
It is true too, like, just about how we're all built differently. Like, you're tall, I'm short. Some people, like, there's fast twitch fibers and slow twitch fibers, and maybe this is an excuse for not being a runner, but I am convinced that my body is not built to be a runner. Like, it's just way too much. I go up and down instead of forward. Like, it's just waste of effort. So I'm going to find something that I can do that's more up and down. You know what I mean? So I'm a doctor of the spine and a chiropractor. How important is spinal mobility?
Super important, right? So I'm sure you know as well too, but our backs are made to move, right? You know, it's meant to bend, it's meant to extend, it's meant to rotate, it's meant to side bend, right? So again, I think one of the biggest things that I try and tell people, especially after they experience an episode of low back pain, right? So the back seizes up, they typically tend to just stay still, right? Whereas in reality, you want to promote as much gentle movement as possible, get as much blood flow into the back as possible, right? So I would say, that's probably, you know, one of the most important things for spinal mobility. And same thing, whenever we stay in one position for too long, our brain starts to let us know, send the signals, hey, this is uncomfortable, right? Like, have you ever sat in an airplane for like 5 hours without moving.
Yeah,
it sucks.
I
super
hurt worse from being
uncomfortable.
sedentary. Like, we're on our feet moving around all day. I get more pain if I'm in a conference all weekend sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a long drive or a plane ride. Exactly.
It's not comfortable. Same thing if you're standing all the time. If you stand all day, like, it's probably not comfortable.
Yeah, you need to change position.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like one of the most common things, you know, people ask, I'm sure you probably get asked this all the time too, is like, hey, what is like the best posture, right? And I always tell people, you know, your best posture is your next posture.
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
Literally just change positions, right? If you're standing too long, go ahead, sit down.
Yeah.
If you're sitting for too long, stand up, right?
Yeah.
So again, just constantly changing positions, constantly moving, getting your body in and out of those different positions is probably going to be the best things.
Again, movement is life. So do you work with other healthcare practitioners or co-treat with anybody, and what kind of practitioners?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we love chiropractors, right? We love massage therapists, we love nutritionists, and obviously we also have kind of a list of orthopedics surgeons that we'll refer to again if it's necessary and stuff like that. So again, we're very good at exercise and movement, and we know that, right? So we kind of stick to that. But obviously, but obviously you guys know a lot more about, you know, adjustments and about the spine and stuff like that. So again, we'll refer, if people want adjustments and stuff, we'll gladly refer to chiropractor. Same thing with nutrition, you know. So yes, we know that, you know, a little bit about macros and stuff like that, but there's so much more about nutrition than just the surface of kind of what we know. So again, whenever people have like questions about dieting, you know, stuff like that, and we refer them out to like nutritionists as well too. So again, I think it's just important to, you know, treat the body as a whole and understand that, hey, you don't need to be good at everything, right? Be good. And I think like there's so many like people out there where they feel like they need to do everything, right? Whereas in reality, like, it would be so hard to go out and learn, like, hey, 7 years of chiropractic, 5 years of nutrition, 7 years of physical therapy, and try to put it all together. Then you're just spreading
yourself too thin.
Whereas, you know, same thing with like surgeons. Like typically surgeons, they only operate on like the same one or two joints, right? They only do knees or only do hips, right? Same thing with us. You know, we're very good at getting people stronger and getting them movement and whatnot. So we kind of, you know, we stick to that. And again, whenever other things arise and stuff, we refer out. But again, it's like health. I kind of explained health in kind of like three different big categories, right? It's like sleep or sleep/stress, and then nutrition, and then exercise, right? So I think again, if we're able to kind of address it all from kind of like a holistic perspective, it's going to be like the best thing that we can do.
And that's like in chiropractic, they always teach the triad, like the model of health. Usually it's always described as a triangle. So we talk about thought, trauma, and toxins. So that's the mind, body, spirit, or mind, structure, biochemical. Yeah. So that nutrition aspect, that's why I wanted to ask him, because you see athletes. So usually people that are athletic are eating the right things because they're performance minded, and that can give them the competitive edge and help them stay in the game and recover really well. But can you kind of compare and contrast a case of somebody who was doing proper nutrition versus somebody who wasn't? Like, what do you feel? What are the limitations? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think like a lot of times athletes will also, again, they may also have like a negative experience with food as well too. Nutrition, right? Again, like they're like, hey, if I eat too much, like I'm not gonna make weight for my class or something like that. Whereas in reality, again, it's always like a fine balance between eating and fueling yourself enough so that you're able to actually perform as well too. So again, once you kind of let them know that, then again something will kind of click. But usually with stuff like that, there's a lot of psychological stuff behind that. So we kind of just refer out to nutritionists.
Sure.
For that.
Americans spend $33 billion every single year on diets and weight loss products, and yet diets have a 95% failure rate. These statistics and my 18 plus years experience as a practicing doctor show me the real dangers of a cookie cutter approach to health, and that truthfully, diets don't work. This is why I created the 90-10 lifestyle, for the people like you and me, busy and not willing to settle for less when it comes to our health and wellness. This program isn't just about feeling fantastic and or losing weight for good. It's a roadmap to upgrading your body and mind from the inside out, while simultaneously suppressing the inflammation and suppressing the guilt that often comes with a high stress, high expectations, and high performance. The number one reason the 90-10 lifestyle is so effective and easy to maintain is that it gives you back your willpower instead of forcing it. what about like physically in the body? So like one of the reasons I added nutrition to my chiropractic practice was like I just got tired of whacking away at the same subluxation over and over again. Like patients would come back week after week, and eventually I was like, am I really helping this person if the problem keeps coming back? And so I know when I started implementing nutrition and patients, we got that level of inflammation out of the body, and then the tissues were more well nourished, that they were able to graduate from chiropractic care and hold their adjustments. So what do you feel like in the muscle tissue and stuff in people that are handling their nutrition well versus not?
No, it makes such a big difference, right? Because again, like exercise only plays one part in their injury and stuff, right? And again, like if we're also able to address like the nutritional aspect of it as well, it's only going to kind of accelerate, the whole recovery process as well too. Just because, there's only so many variables that we're able to control from like a provider standpoint, right?
Sure.
But again, but if we can start influencing, their thoughts and experiences with like food, again, that's like 3 hours of the day that we're also additionally influencing, right?
I know. Patients come in and they're like, how did I get this way? I'm like, I don't know. I spend 10 minutes a week with you. Like, right? You are responsible for all the rest of your time.
But if you can influence habits, right? Influence habits, that's when you can start making lifestyle changes and stuff, right? Agreed. So again, like a lot of the stuff we do with them and like exercise, it's all about kind of like teaching them things that they're able to kind of implement in their everyday life, right? Just because again, we're only able to spend, like 1 hour a week with them, which again is already a lot compared to other healthcare providers. But in the grand scheme of things, 1 hour is very, very little compared to like a, whatever, how many hours are in a whole week, right? I almost said 40-hour work week, but again, people are spending more than 40 hours with like with exercise and food and stuff, so,
Well, and two, I'm sure you find the same, like once you're able to restore an area that's been problematic, that's providing pain and discomfort and fear and restriction of movement and not full participation in life and the things you enjoy, like when people start getting back involved in the things, their emotional tone comes up, and then suddenly like they can fathom maybe taking the next step or eating healthy or doing some meal prepping, or like they have the energy and the focus to then take on the next thing. So it just kind of catapults, right?
Absolutely. We just gotta flip that first domino.
Yeah, you have to have a small win somewhere, and so like you're giving people big wins so then they can keep that going.
For sure.
Awesome. Excuse me, I have to move Peter's tail. We have Peter Pie and Peter U here today, you guys.
Hey, Petey.
You get all the Peters. Peter squared. Okay, so just tell us a couple of the most outstanding success stories. I mean, I know you've been able to keep people off meds, out of surgery. Just share some really cool cases.
Oh man, where do I even begin? I feel like all of them are super cool and stuff. Well, today we just had she's a pediatric doctor, but she's also very active. I think she's probably like 35, 40 years old. She does F45.
Okay.
Right? We've been seeing her for about 4 weeks now, but she came in she had partial meniscus tear in her knee, pain with lunges, and just like very fearful of like different the explosive movements that they do at F45, right? She went and saw an ortho. Ortho was like, hey, all right, you got a partial meniscus tear. We're going to go ahead and schedule surgery. So she got surgery scheduled it was supposed to be in August, right? And then luckily for her, one of our previous patients, who's a nurse, actually works with her over at Wolfson's Children's Hospital. She was able to refer her over. She was like, hey, like before you even like continue on this path of surgery, go check them out. Like they know what they're doing. So she came in for visits, and immediately on the eval, I did the eval with her. I was like, I don't even like, this is just my personal opinion, but just based off everything that we're seeing today on the eval, you have no pain at rest.
Right.
You only have mild pain when you're doing some sort of squats or lunges. Like you can easily manage and fix this. You don't need surgery at all. She's like, oh, okay, like we'll see, right? So and 4 weeks later, her knee's much stronger. Right? She's able to do squats and lunges, and then today she just told us, hey, canceled my surgery in August. Right?
That's awesome.
And this is awesome. And again, like we didn't really necessarily, she still has a partial meniscus tear.
Yeah.
Right? We're not changing that, but we are able to get the tissues around her knee stronger so that she can, run and do like jumping jacks and all these like crazy explosive things that they do at F45.
That's awesome.
Right? So again, it's just like one of the very common things that, we see daily. But again, it's just so awesome to be able to, again, like prevent someone from going through surgery, right? Because again, surgery is such a long, shitty road to recovery.
Well, in the scar tissue alone, they're going to probably be back in to see you eventually anyway, because the very, cure causes more additional issues. So there's all of that too.
Yeah, so I would say that's one. Another one, again, it's just Florida State's Olympic weightlifting. Their state's championship is this weekend down in Orlando. One of my patients, she is actually an occupational therapist, and she's also a weightlifter. She's about 42 years old, 2 kids, back pain. Right, this is probably about a year and a half ago. She, again, when got an MRI, saw an ortho told her, hey, you have the back of an 80-year-old.
Yeah.
Ton of degeneration, arthritis, like you're never going to be able to lift again or anything like that. Obviously, her life revolved around, obviously, her kids, work, and weightlifting.
Yeah, that's devastating news.
And to be able to hear that, she's not even that old, 42, and to be able to hear from another healthcare provider, hey, you have the back of an 80-year-old, everything is degenerated, you have arthritis. It's super harmful words, right? But again, same thing. She came in, did some physical therapy. We were able to progress some things, get her back stronger. Again, now she's competing in states for clean and jerk and snatch.
Awesome.
Right? So again, I think a lot of times people, especially us as healthcare providers, we really need to be careful of the words we say.
Oh yeah. People will become a diagnosis, right?
So it's again, I don't even say anything about shoulder and pain. No, I just say, hey, we have some shoulder pain going on here, right? Yeah. All we really need to do is figure out, hey, what's going on from a mobility perspective, and get it strong enough to be able to tolerate whatever activity that you want to be able to do that you aren't able to do right now. Yeah. Right? Because if people become so fixated on a diagnosis, whatever, they're going to be
then they go Google it, and they read all about it, and then they start believing it, and then they start living the life that Google told you it was
it's just a shitty spiral coming down and stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah, those are just, I don't know, a couple patient stories and stuff
well done. That's amazing. Good job. Well, it's amazing, what you're describing is the body is adaptable,
100%.
One of the reasons we don't do x-rays on every single patient is because what I can tell you is you can see one x-ray and you would think, just looking at a picture of bones, not knowing the person or their history or witnessing their function or mobility, you would think this person clearly must be in a wheelchair, immobilized, it looks terrible. They must have had 8 car accidents. They must have a walker or a cane, surely, and they're totally fine and pain-free and living life. Yeah. Another x-ray could look like a 13-year-old and beautiful disc spaces maintained, no obvious bone spurs or degeneration or anything, and that person is the one that's coming crawling, walking in your office with 2 people on either side to help hold them up. So there's never a direct correlation. And then I also say hey, I've been working on my body for a really long time, doing all the right things, getting adjusted nutrition. If you x-rayed my spine, you could give me a diagnosis on the spot, and I could believe it and start thinking it's dangerous for me to exercise or golf or do something, and then I start guarding and losing mobility and succumbing to that. So
that's awesome. I didn't realize that, because I know there's a large majority of chiropractors where again, first thing they do is take an X-ray or MRI. But
you'll
again,
find something.
You'll find something. But again, exactly what you said, right? Again, there's asymptomatic people out there, and again, we take an X-ray, and it's probably more than 70% of them are going to have something show up and stuff. So
the body will adapt. You know, as long as we see all sorts of misalignment, and people have scoliosis. For us, our goal isn't necessarily to get their spine to look straight like somebody else's
spine. Just get them functioning again.
Yeah, but once the body stops identifying that as a pathology, right, and it doesn't set up the inflammatory cascade and try to lock things down with degeneration and bone spurs, the body doesn't recognize it as a problem, you can have full function even though it looks all distorted and terrible on an x-ray, you know? So that's what made me think of that when you said this lady still has a meniscus tear.
Yeah, she still does.
But she could do all the things.
We're not changing anything from a structural standpoint. We're literally just, again, buffering up the things around it, right? So what's that quote? I was explaining to someone else the other, treat the donut, not the hole.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not doing anything to the donut hole.
I don't know how this guy, it all comes back to donuts and ice cream over here.
But again,
we're going to work on your nutrition.
We're going to buffer up all the surrounding areas so they can tolerate whatever activity they want to do.
Totally.
Because again, if you tell people, hey, if you have, a meniscus tear, but it's not painful and you're able to run and squat and do all those things, will it matter to you?
Yeah. Well, how many people have one that don't know because they never had it work? They never had the imaging done, but they're still living life and doing all the things,
doing all the things, right?
So that's why I'm saying, there's all these amazing tests. We were actually just talking about this in the office because now patients can go online and order all their own tests and do these telemed things, and then they're coming in, throwing all this data at me and freaking out because they found something.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that test wasn't warranted for you in the first place.
Sure.
Like, there's a ton of different tests. You and I could go order 60 different functional medicine labs for ourselves, but we don't really need it. There was no reason to do them in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
Then you find something because there's probably something. Like, we're not all perfect, and our bodies are diverse and functioning and changing every day and every month and every week. And so it's just like, now you have this like overwhelming data that we never needed on you in the first place, and like now you have that in your mindset.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with it?
Absolutely. And like, plus like how we treat and stuff, it's not really dictated by, it doesn't really matter what the imaging says, right? Like, obviously, again, if we know if it's a fracture, or again, if we know if there's some sort of like a red flag for like cancer or whatever,
Of course.
imaging is warranted.
Yeah.
But again, it's like if you have shoulder pain, like, it doesn't really matter if it's a labral tear, an impingement, a rotator cuff, like, we're all going to treat it the same, right? We're all going to figure out, hey, what are you able to tolerate and handle that is pain-free, and slowly build you up from there.
Exactly.
So again, it's just like whenever patients ask me, hey, should I go get an X-ray or MRI? I'm like, no offense, but it's not really going to impact the way we treat you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Right.
And plus, like, MRIs and X-rays are expensive.
I know.
Like $400-$500.
I know.
And they don't tell you how to fix it.
More.
Yeah, they just tell you what's wrong, but they don't tell you
I
how
know.
to fix
That
it.
just leads to a surgical consult, basically. Well, we talked a little bit about that, like why you don't participate in insurance reimbursement, but it's just they're not really making decisions based on what the patient needs, or it's so limiting, or only allows them to focus on the area of pain and not connect, like, okay, you need your back and your hips and your leg muscles to move your shoulder properly or lift something overhead. So anything
absolutely,
else.
because like, again, like a lot of the patients we treat, like we'll treat them for like a shoulder thing, and then the shoulder gets better. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, I've always had this hip thing that's going on. Can you take a look? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course we can.
Yeah.
Right?
But you can work on that without going to get permission or having somebody have to play the system to write the proper diagnosis code that allows you to treat the area of
and
complaint.
plus, like, again, like a lot of times, like, insurance will only allow, quote unquote, allow, right, a certain number of visits. But what happens if the patient still has issues even past the allotted number of visits, right? What are they going to do? Just not allow you to see PT, right? So again, that's like also, again, a big reason why we don't participate in insurance. But again, it just allows us to treat the patient for as long as we need to, or until, again, the patient is all the way back to their goals and stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if patients recognize this either, but insurance doesn't cover maintenance, wellness, or prevention. So once they've reached what is considered maximum medical improvement, they're done.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. But people can't just stop moving their body because they've reached maximum medical improvement.
Right. Whatever that means, right?
Yeah, whoever's deciding what that is. Well, and also, like, your model too, like, it's a more hopeful perspective, right? It's like we have a higher standard. Like, I say that even here, like, you have a higher standard for what the body's capable of because you have a high level of conviction because of the level of testimonies and success stories that you've witnessed.
For sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
So you're not going to tell somebody like, oh yeah, you're old, so yeah, that's
That's
probably
it.
as much as you can possibly do.
That's like one of the most things that I hate the most is like, yeah, you're just going to have to deal with it. Like, go on your way. Right? And you see, like, patients tell me that all the time, that they go to another doctor and it's like, you just have to live with it. You're stuck with it. Like, sorry, can't help you.
I know. That's where, like, the Italian in me comes out. I'm like, you want to bet?
There's always things that you can do. And again, it's exactly what's going back to what we're saying. Like, the body's adaptable if you give it the right amount of stimulus and stress.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
There's hope.
There is hope. That's what it says upstairs when you walk in. It says, there's hope, the body heals.
I love that.
So it sounds like you're practicing the same.
Love
so
that.
I'm sure you've at least piqued people's interest. Maybe they, listening, have been told to live with it. This is as good as it's going to get, kind of a thing. How can people that are listening today learn more about you?
Yeah, sure. So our website, you can go on our website. It's www.motionrxhealth.com. We're also very active on Instagram. Instagram is motion.rx. We post a bunch of different things. We try and make it informational, right? So we'll post like exercise, rehab exercise stuff. We'll also try and make it like funny as well too. So we'll post like funny.
I love his page. You guys should definitely follow them.
And we try and make it real, right? Try and be able to connect with people, show them, hey, we're not just like very robotic, right? We have emotions as well too. So we'll do some sort of like TikTok dance or reel. And then again, we also try and post some like patient testimonials and patient stories, right? Hey, this person was dealing with XYZ and now they're all the way back to doing XYZ, right?
Those always speak volumes. Yeah, like you and I could tell everybody what we do and how great it is and all, but like ultimately they just want to hear from somebody like
somebody else. Yeah, what was your experience like, right? So we're very active on social media. You can also find us on TikTok, Motion.rx. And then we also have a podcast as well, which we need to get you on. It's called the Healthy Jacks Podcast. So we'll get you on for that as well too.
And we'll put all the links that he just mentioned in the show notes as well, so you guys can just easily click and follow him.
Perfect.
Any last remaining thoughts?
No, thank you for having me on. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I agree. It's cool to find people. When you find people that are like-minded, naturally our listeners are going to want to find other people that are open to like a holistic, proactive model. So I hope that people seek you out for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on. And
Yes. Awesome. So that's been another awesome episode of the Weird Works podcast.
See you guys next episode.
On the next episode of Weird Works. Your health and how you feel on a daily basis directly impact your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. We will help you reprogram your way of thinking and be on a plan that works for your body instead of against it. It is time to rewrite the false belief that health abnormalities are normal and that it just is what it is. You do not have to live with feeling less than 100%.
We invite you to take a serious look at how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Is what you're doing working? Do you want to learn how to live a more holistic life that's still enjoyable and fun? The 90-10 lifestyle can be the bridge from subpar results to the vibrant and abundant lifestyle that you've been looking for. So click the link by this video so you can get started today. We truly, truly know that this program can change your life. We'll see you on the inside.